What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel for episode 8 of Somali and the Forest Spirit. This is your host Maverick here, and last episode we left at a place where we're about to maybe actually finally get some information as to the remaining humans here, right? And I am definitely curious about that. This is a cute anime and all that, but I want some progress, right? So, without further ado, let's get into the episode and see what's up. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, and play. The head librarian, who might also be like the leader or elder. Just superior witches. Special book? What's that supposed to do? Let's place our bets. Are we actually going to be able to get any information in this episode? I think it's about time, right? Episode 8. This is a 12 episode or 13 episode anime. It's now or never. I mean, at the very least, they probably need some clues as to where they should go next, right? Because Haitora was certainly not very helpful in that regard. La 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 la. Oh yeah, and he also broke his hand somewhat. Gullum. He seems to be made completely out of something like clay. Uh, when his hand broke last episode, it seemed like, clay, uh, plates, pottery, that kind of stuff. Smuggle books. So she's actually still the head librarian. I mean, you might have wanted to warn them first that this isn't exactly legal to do. Jump! Ah, that's cute. Well, it's certainly good that Golem's body can withstand high drops, considering he is somewhat falling apart. That's supposed to be like an egg of some sort? And the head library. Damn. I like how even though they're witches and all that, they still use. I mean, it's not like that's a forbidden book. Ooh. What? Huh. So yeah, the humans did come from beyond the ocean. That actually reminds me a lot of Kiki's Delivery Service. Oh, it's a golem. Probably not the same golem, but a golem nonetheless. Hmm. So are golems actually human constructed? Hmm. That is Haraiso? What? Yeah, the witches look like humans. Very. So are they like trying to live here in secret? How come you're fine? And then I guess she wrote a book telling of her adventures here, and then all the other creatures came. All the other species came. Cake is uh, it's not a trendy snack, I guess. Hmm. Oh, she's leaving, I guess. I don't know. Gathering them seemed more like she was about to tell them something. Or maybe just saying thanks and she'd like to help. Something like that. I mean, obviously nothing happened to... Well, maybe I shouldn't speak too soon. Hmm. The humans are only on this little small island? Well, I'm still thinking about this entire Golem situation. Like, what we heard from Golem. Yes. Now, why is... Oh, then she's gonna fly. No, I still feel like humans, even with all that, would be more accepting of humanoids, though. That's just how people normally are. Eh, about that. I don't know. It's a good. I just can't get over the fact that she has like a breather.
感謝する。いいえ、私も最後にあなたたちに会えてよかった。
Nope. Turns into butterflies, eh?
あなたたちにどうか世界の神があらんことを。
Hmm. And that's that. Alright, see you guys in a second. Alrighty, so I think I talked a little bit before about how this series is sort of Ghibli-esque in a sort of way, right? In a way that it stylizes its characters, with the way that the interactions between the characters develops, and just the overall tone and feel, right? And indeed, I think you can even make an argument that it follows some aspects of Disney movies as well. This entire conflict thing between different species, and then having these misunderstandings or hatred and prejudice and so on and so forth. It's really reminiscent of a lot of the more cartoony stuff from Disney or even Ghibli, right? But I mean that is fine, except that of course some of those do feel, I think, a little bit more forced than it could be. For instance, you already have these humans here who are willing to obey the words of a golem, right? Even going so far as to say that he feels like a god to them. So it means that they aren't, like, if they really were completely prejudiced against anything that is non-human, why did they not attack the golem on site and end it right then and there, right? Now I could perhaps understand if they're very distrustful of more, the other creatures or species that look more like normal monsters, right? But especially in this case, for someone like a witch, I don't know. I feel like in this sort of context, humans would probably be much more accepting of a species such as them. They're humanoid, they speak, they talk, they act in a similar manner to humans. I'm not really sure if they would just be so intent on casting her out and so on and so forth, right? Um, in fact, I almost wonder if it would have made more sense for them to maybe in the end of that at the end of that, they actually were pretty nice to the witch, right? To the ancestor there, because she saved, one of the villagers, one of the young villagers, one of the young children, and so they actually parted on cordial terms, right? And so that is what prompted her to eventually write of the village in a positive light, and then that was the cause for her eventually passing down information for generations, and then making it into a book, and then making it into this unavoidable conflict between humanity and other species as a whole, right? So even though they might be more cordial toward each other because of their similarness, maybe not so much with all the other different species that might not be as humanoid as the witches, right? I think that might even be a more might even be a more logical approach than what we see here. Uh, but yeah, whatever. That's the way it goes, and I guess that's just the way it is, right? I was laughing quite a bit at at the head librarian. Like, I'm sorry, but considering that they are a society that uses magic and whatnot, and then suddenly seeing a medical ventilator, the air mask on her, that just took me completely out. Like, it's a weird mix between magic and all this fantasy stuff and modern technology, right? Although I do have to feel that that's probably more of an anime adaptation decision than anything from the original. But I might be wrong, right? But beyond all that, I think one of the most interesting things to me is the fact that there was a golem on that place, right? On that island. And that actually leads me to believe that that island is probably not originally inhabited by humans. So humans actually went there from somewhere else. That was part of their long expedition. They thought they discovered new lands, and it turned out to be that island there, right? So the golem was probably there first, probably also working as a guardian of that place as well. But they were managed to get onto good terms, and so the humans settled there and made a village, right? I feel like that is probably what actually happened. That is not the actual origin or whatnot of humanity, and so on and so forth. So that's why at the very end there, they were still talking about if you want to find humans, you might have to travel to the ends of the earth, the ends of the world, where the humans actually originated. That island was probably just one of the very first footholds that the humans had near this part of the world. They might have come from an entirely different place, right? Yeah, and in fact, I'm almost positive that that's what happened there. And so I guess there being a golem right there doesn't really have any bearing with the humans. For an instant there, I actually thought that golems were human created. And so that was sort of like their legacy left on this land, but not so, right? So yeah, I think that that particular line of thought doesn't really go anywhere, but I do still believe that that is probably just a temporary location for, or a relatively new village for the humans, and not where they actually came from. And so I guess we now know the next goal of Golem and Somali, and that is to travel a bit further, and that's probably where we go through the stuff that we see at the beginning, in the opening, where they trudge through snow and rain and desert and so on and so forth, right? All to travel to the ends of the world. And yeah, I think that's basically it. Um, Again, just in conclusion, I get what they're trying to do with the story. I feel like it's a bit forced and not really logical, but hey, that's just what it is, right? And so we can only continue on with what we have here. And yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just thinking, like, what else is there to talk about from this episode? Not really. Not really. Yeah, I think that's basically it. So I will see you guys in the next week's episode as well. Until then, bye bye.